I think our next guest is indeed a very special guy. He is a unique physical specimen, which probably for his age, and we'll find out what it is as in good a shape as anyone in the world. He was a pioneer in the entire physical culture movement, one of the first to do exercises and so forth on television. I remember him from 1948 on an old program called You Asked For It, setting the world's push-up record. So he's probably one of the original people in the Guinness Book of World Records. A very special guy. Here is Jack LaLanne. Jack, the way I figure it, you and the Swami are both in great shape for men your age. And
what do you mean for our age? You know, what kind of stuff is this? What does age have to do with it? You tell me, what is age? Age is strictly something in your mind, you know, nothing.
That's
If you think old, you're old. You think young, you're young. You have to work at living. You got to work at anything you do. You have to put out energy. No energy put out, you get nothing back. That is exactly
my theory. You know why
theory.
I do say that, though? Because you are noted for doing something special on your birthday each year.
That's right. Just to prove to the average American that one doesn't have to become decrepit and sit in a wheelchair. That is, one gets advanced, you know, along in years, you get more calendar years, you can actually improve if one does something about it. See, I work at living. Most people work at dying. And that's my philosophy. I'm trying to get the average American to spend more energy and more time and effort in living.
Well, what's your program like? How does it work? I'd be curious to compare your physical routine to the Swami's, just because I think there'd be an interesting comparison there.
See, the number one thing in my life, my whole philosophy is exercise. I'm a great believer in use or lose. And I believe to work in this body to complete muscle failure daily. I usually at home, I'm in the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning. I lift very heavy weights. I work out with the weights for an hour and a half. I run for a half hour and swim a half hour. This is my daily routine, 7 days a week. Unless I'm training for one of my
Why do you start at 4 in the morning, Jack?
Number one, for discipline's sake. For one to get out of bed, you know, maybe you haven't had too much sleep, and to get out of bed, maybe it's a cold morning or whatever, it takes a lot of discipline. And I believe that we are only as good as our discipline. Without pride, without discipline, one doesn't have much in life. And so getting my behind out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning when I don't feel like it, that is strengthening my discipline, believe me.
All right, let me just shift to the Swami for a second. He was totally agreeing with what you were saying.
I am in total agreement.
What time do you get up?
Well, I get up 4 o'clock.
Well, I get up at 3 o'clock. I just want you folks to know it. I'm up there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And then he goes
These
home.
guys are still sleeping when I get out of bed. Yeah, then I go home. That's a good line.
No, like I said, see, I don't expect people to lead a Spartan existence like I do, because I like to prove to people who follow the Jack LaLanne's philosophy that it does work. And if it doesn't work for Jack LaLanne, how's it going to work for you, my students? There's no way. If I lie to me, I'll lie to you. So the only thing that I've really got going for me is honesty, truth, and integrity, nothing else. And that's what I try to do with all the people that belong to our spas and work for our spas, to tell the people the truth. The truth is, if one doesn't exercise, if one doesn't eat properly, and if one doesn't think right, what have you got in life? As I said before, you have to work at living. Now look, do you have a dog?
Well, no.
All right. Most of the people in the audience, you have dogs. Would you get your dog up in the morning and give him a cup of coffee, a cigarette, and a donut?
Yeah! Sure.
All right. Now, that dog, the Humane Society would get you. They'd throw you in jail, and you'd kill that dog. Now, see, you would be working the dog at dying.
Jack, I tried, but it refuses to smoke.
Okay. That's good. But see, that's what I'm trying to say. The average American gets up in the morning, they'll have a cigarette and a cup of coffee and a donut, and then for lunch maybe they'll have a couple of martinis, and they'll have a hamburger or a hot dog or some lousy junk food, and then more booze at night, more cigarettes and ice cream and cakes and pie. And they can't understand why they got arthritis and rheumatism, and they're constipated, and they lose their sex drive, and they're old before their time. They've worked at dying, see? And I just like to turn it around. That's why I like to do a little exercise and eat right, work at living.
That's good.
Oh, boy, you are really a dynamic.
That's terrific, Jack.
Well, it's just the truth. That's all. It's the truth.
It really is the truth. Now, what about, in terms of the fact you both get up real early in the morning, why do you arise at 4 o'clock in the morning, Swami?
Well, that's the peaceful time to sit and meditate, to calm the mind, to send out nice thoughts for the benefit of the humanity. I don't pray for myself when I meditate.
You don't pray for yourself?
When I meditate, I say, let all the people be happy.
Well,
let there be peace all over.
What about exercise? Now, we know that Jack lifts weights and swims and runs. Do you do any? What do you do?
I jog a little, and then I do the yoga postures and the breathing. It's not a heavy exercise because I somehow feel, I don't know how Jack will think of it. Suppose when I do continuously for a few months or years, and if I stop it, will it affect me according to his practice?
That's a typical question that people want to know, I think.
Because in mine, it won't.
All right. See, I had my first health spa, the first modern health spa in the United States in 1936 in Oakland, California. In those days, those were the dark ages. People knew nothing about exercise. And when I first opened my studio, the word got around in the newspapers and the radio and all this that this Jack LaLanne, this Mr. America, the muscle-bound guy, the nut, the crackpot, the guy that doesn't eat meat, you know, he's way out, he believes in vitamins. You know, I was some kind of a real nut, a real filbert, believe me. And the doctors, they said, boy, anybody, if you're over 25 years of age and you go to that Jack LaLanne's, you'll get muscle-bound, you'll get hemorrhoids, and you'll have a heart attack. This is the truth. This is the medical profession. In 1936, what they said. And all athletes were absolutely forbidden to lift weights of any kind, any progressive weight training. The athletes, some of the University of California fellows, you know, from up north, they were coming to my studio to train, and the coaches said, look, if you don't quit that Jack LaLanne's, you're going to get muscle-bound, and we're going to kick you off the team. They had to quit. That's exactly what happened to me way back then. So this is what I had to do, is stick to the truth.
What are you going to do on your next birthday?
What I have planned right now, I want to swim from Catalina Island to Los Angeles, which is about 24 miles underwater.
Underwater?
Yes, yes. I'll be underwater 25 or 26
gills,
hours.
Jack. How are you going to do this?
No, I am. That's the truth.
Human submarine.
Yep. Well, that's one thing I have planned. Then I have another.
But wait, how are you going to do it underwater, Jack?
Well, I have a 17-year-old son, and he's very adept at swimming and all this scuba diving thing. And he will bring down a tank of air every hour and a half, and I'll change tanks underwater. And I'll eat underwater, and this is going to be one of the most incredible feats if I pull it off.
How?
Why?
Listen,
I haven't blown one yet, you know.
Yeah. What are some of the other things you've done on your birthday?
Well, let's see. On my the last one I did was.
How old were you your last birthday?
Well, I'll be 64 this month, September 26th. Then on my 62nd birthday, I did something for the bicentennial. Bicentennial. You get that? No. But I pulled 13 boats with 76 people in them. I pulled them a mile and a half, handcuffed and shackled, in the Long Beach Harbor. Then the year before that, I swam the Golden Gate underwater, handcuffed and shackled, towing a 2,000-pound boat. And the year before that, I towed from Alcatraz prison to San Francisco, I towed a 1,000-pound boat, handcuffed and shackled. See, in other words, every year I try to make them progressively more difficult. Again, proving that calendar years, pardon the expression, don't mean a damn.
Listen,
it's what we make it happen.
I think this is great, really.
You know, so that's why I'm a great believer in, like the Swami says about using everything. We get it in our mind. Everything, the omnipotent power, everything that we have is in our mind. Because my muscles, my fingers, they don't know anything. It has to start up here. But you can't separate the mind and the body, really, because what affects the body affects the mind. But you've got to keep them together as a team. So